Hi, everybody. This is Jason Major for The Chosen, Season 4, Episode 3. So, this episode, I'm doing reviews, but I expect most people watching this would have seen the episode or is going to see the episode. So, I'm going to go straight into what is the heart of the spoiler of this episode, as well as the biblical story. But still, broad enough context that, that won't tell you everything that happens in the episode. The heart of this episode that is from the Bible is an adaptation of the story in the book of John, where Jesus heals the lame man with mud in his eyes, and then the man goes to the priest, and the priest sort of says, this man is a sinner, and Jesus said, and the man says in the Bible, he says, whether he's a sinner or not, I don't know. All I know is I was blind and now I can see. And then Jesus rebuking the Pharisees. So that story is in the Bible. Played out differently here in the sense that it's not played out in Jerusalem, it's played out in Capernaum, which is a big deal. As well as instead of him sending this guy with the mud in his eyes to a pool, and there's a pail next to him of water, and he says, put your hands in this pail of water. I suppose that's for time constraints to keep the story moving, as opposed to, having him be sent to a well where there's water and all that. And then the big one is, of course, the death of one of the main characters who is not from the Bible, but it would have been a historical character in the sense of someone who would follow Jesus or just another follower of Jesus, etc., etc. And so I thought this was a really good episode. It is well acted, it is well done, it is emotional, obviously. Those who have been following the series from day one will probably, it has an emotional payoff because of that. If I have a criticism, it's partly that the episode before focused on John the Baptist dying, and for whatever reason, they're giving more weight to this than the death of John the Baptist amongst Jesus and his followers, which I think that the same story beats, and I'll have this thought on the next episode, episode 4 too, the same story beats could have been played out with the death of John the Baptist that are being played out here a little bit, except that you don't see it coming because it's not in the Bible, it's not a character in the Bible. I felt that and I say this carefully, earlier in the episode, the disciples are kind of laughing and saying, like, I don't think that him confronting the Pharisees like this is a good idea, it's a stupid idea, and then you have him confronting the Pharisees, and then sort of a riot is forming. Jesus might be fully God and fully man, and might not know everything that's going to happen in his natural human form. He wouldn't necessarily know everything that would happen. But a common person would be able to say, I'm arguing with this person, a riot's starting to form, the soldiers are now coming, maybe it's time to get out of here. You know what I mean? So that is a minor thing to me, a minor thing that for me is like, like it'd been nice if Jesus wasn't the one, like just sort of arguing with this Pharisee to the point of, if it was more that she was in town and it had nothing to do with Jesus, and then just she's in town and the Romans are looking at a like, for example, if I had written it and I didn't, I would have had it be like maybe Barabbas. Barabbas is in the Bible, and an insurrection happens, and then during that insurrection, that's when this character gets killed. That would have been probably better than than the way this is handled, which most people probably won't have. Most people, you probably watch it and go like, oh, okay, I get it. Roman soldier killed her because he was chasing after Jesus, and there's a riot going on. But I think that it would have been played out better. I would have played it with an insurrection, have not Jesus there, and then that way, Jesus is not even responsible at all. And then, of course, you have the Thomas going, well, why did I've seen you do these things. why won't you raise her from the dead or heal her? And Jesus is like, well, it's not her time. It was her time to die. You know what I mean? And I know that for some people, they're thinking, well, does that mean that Jesus is saying that he will not heal everyone who asks him? I think that they're trying to show the idea of something that's in the later to the apostles, especially after Jesus is gone. There is persecution in this world. There will be grief and sorrow in this world. People are going to die, and the easy answer isn't, well, because it was God's will. It's, I don't know. You know what I mean? They contrast it to a story with David and Bathsheba, which I didn't feel worked for me, because the David and Bathsheba was a different scenario in terms of David had an affair with Bathsheba, and in the Bible it is clear when he has a confrontation with Nathan the prophet that part of the consequences for his sin is him losing his child. You know what I mean? But he will still have another child with Bathsheba later, which is Solomon. So I didn't feel that was a fair comparison of David saying, like, well, I don't know why this happened. Yes, you do, David. The scripture's clear, and Nathan the prophet was clear. But I get that they were trying to contrast this idea of suffering and of loss to this other this fictional story. Heavy episode, and I guess what I'm saying is that the big question theologically that became a debate for some people and friends is, did Jesus always heal everybody when he was here on earth? And would he have healed everyone who had said yes to him? I think that is an interesting question to look up biblically, but when you're talking about, in this case, which is the death of someone who is not even martyred for their faith, just martyred, or they're killed because of a riot or whatever, I think that's an even more interesting question. I don't think you see biblically Jesus. He does say the disciples raised the dead, so I think there is clear indication that more people were raised from the dead in the Gospels than we do know about. John also says that there was other people that were healed and miracles that happened that we weren't recorded down in the 4 Gospels. But at the same time, obviously, Jesus didn't heal everybody who got killed in who was martyred, or like John the Baptist. He doesn't heal John the Baptist, right? He doesn't. If the disciples of John the Baptist came to him and said, "Hey, John the Baptist is dead. Can't you bring him back to life?" Jesus didn't say, "Yes, I will." He didn't have a magic power that you could do it like that. So it's an interesting theological question. I leave that for you to think about, though, as opposed to giving you a definitive answer, because I believe that we're supposed to go to the Bible and we're supposed to meditate on this ourselves, as opposed to just saying, being black and white and telling people what to believe. You need to look into this yourself. But it's a great question this episode is dealing with, which is why does death happen, basically? And there's that question, but then there's also the question in terms of the biblical story, which is when Jesus was alive here on earth, what did he do about death? So thanks for watching. Talk to you soon. Bye.